Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Buddy's Theatre, released in 1935. It's the 99th of the series and it's directed by Ben Hardaway. I'm currently using a film print of this, and this time around I actually do know where it comes from, but I don't want to say where because let's just say I want more of this sort of stuff to come out from said person, and they know who they are anyway, and they're happy for me to use their film prints for these reviews. And it's under copyright, so I can't show you the full thing here on YouTube. The video would just get blocked if I tried to do so. But in case you haven't seen it, and chances are you probably haven't, unless you caught it a Nickelodeon screening back in the day, but all that is here is that Buddy owns a theatre, and he shows a newsreel, and then he shows the main attraction, so really, by way of story, there's not much here. So let's take a look at this short, because it's a weird one, but then again, what do you expect? You see Ben Hardaway as a director, you know that you're going to get something weird. The question is whether it's weird in a really bad way, or weird in a unintentionally funny way. This one does veer towards the unintentionally funny era, so he's definitely improved since his first Buddy outing. I will say that about him, but again, I'm very critical of Hardaway as a director. He's just all over the place in my opinion, but anyway. So we'll go through some of the trivia and some of the observations I have on this film. So, first of all, when we open up, we see that Buddy's Theatre is really popular. And I mean really popular. Look at all those people just flooding right in. I doubt that this theatre can accommodate all those people, and given that we establish later on that Buddy is running this whole thing himself, how is he processing all these people at once? I don't know. Yes, I'm overthinking it. I just think it's unintentionally funny in that way. But now in this film print, I can actually see two names, and one of which is Frank Tipper, and he was an animator. He was actually at Warner Brothers around this time, between 34 and 35, but he ultimately had a career all over town. He was pretty much at every single studio, more or less. From the sounds of things, it would have been just some sort of a workman-like animator, nothing too special, gets the job done, and so on. Because I'm sure you haven't heard the name before, and neither did I until I actually researched it just now. I tried looking into who Zeke Fuddy is. There's no information that I can actually see. So it's probably a staffer at the time, or maybe an in-betweener, a friend of one of the main animators. I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments, but it just seems like it's a little in-joke between the animators at that time. But it's interesting, though, you see Buddy's owning a theatre here, and yet his previous short, Buddy of the Legion, he was looking for a job, so it's funny. I know that there's no continuity here because I had no idea what to do with the Buddy character, but I just think it's funny in that way too when you watch these things in order. So we see the box office, and boy, wouldn't it be nice to have cheap tickets like that again. Maybe I'll go to the cinema more often, or maybe not, given the behavior of a lot of people that actually go, but anyway, that's another thing entirely. But Buddy really must be on the cheap side to do all the jobs here. So right now he's at the box office, but there's no one to prepare the film to be shown. There's no usher, and just no one else in general to maybe do some cleaning or whatever. But anyway, whatever. So we get a very bizarre gag. What do you expect with a Hardaway short? So a child nearly chokes himself to death with those theatre tickets, and instead of trying to get rid of the tickets out of the mouth, nah, we'll just use the child as a ticket dispenser, because why not? Why not? So we see a woman. She has this seeming baby under her cover, and she says, "One please." Sure, okay, fair enough, because babies would get in for free. And yes, even back then, people would bring their babies. It's annoying today, and I'm sure it was annoying back then, because I maintain that you shouldn't bring any babies or very young children to a theatre unless there's some kind of a purposely designated parent and child session that they have at the cinemas from time to time. But that's another thing entirely. But, of course, it's not a baby, it's an old man. I'm not sure how she was able to lift him in that way, but I don't know, I chuckled at that. I thought it was pretty funny. It's kind of silly, but whatever. And I'm looking at the background, and again, you can finally see things clearly in this short, unlike a 5th generation VHS tape or something like that, as most Buddies seem to be on these days. But I'm loving some of the paintings, but there's an actor on the left. I can't read the words. So if you have an idea as to who that might be, definitely let me know in the comments, because I really would like to know. It's probably some obscure actor from the early 30s, but let me know who you think it might be. So we're all sold out because the baby's run out of tickets from its mouth. Again, weird, but whatever. So now Buddy goes from being a box office attendant to being a projectionist. And again, who would have been the usher? I don't know. And we get this scene which could have ultimately been cut out more or less. It's not particularly funny. The timing's all off. So he goes up the stairs, struggles to open the door, but then he falls down the stairs. And that's pretty much it. He has to walk back up again. You didn't really need this. I would have probably cut it out entirely. The timing's all off, but whatever. Then we get a scene which, I'll admit it's kind of funny because you got so many people where you go to an event of some kind where there's not allocated seating and you have to always get up if you sit at the edge. Like, you got people that they insist they must sit on the edge and then they get annoyed when people ask to go past them. So, okay, I thought this was pretty funny. Then out of the blue, the guy just rips the seat up and then just sits in the middle. And what's even funny about that is the show hasn't even started yet. So he's upset that he's being disturbed for looking at a curtain. Again, very strange, but I do like this expression though. So in this one, I guess Cookie is now a warmer picture star, which, come on, we all know that's a parody of Warner Brothers, but anyway. At the time was Warner Pictures, and she looks different yet again, because they can't seem to settle on a design for her, or, what I said in one of my other Buddy reviews is that he's probably some weirdo who only is attracted to women named Cookie, that's why they're all different. I don't know, but anyway, so this one's a movie star, and looking at this camera, I guess this is one way that Buddy cuts costs. He's got a candle in the camera. Sure, okay, why not? I guess it's one way to get things going, because, again, he didn't have a job in the previous short, so, yeah. So we see a picture of the actual curtain. First of all, it says asbestos. You see that everywhere. In these earlier cartoons, it was seen as a wonder material, and it was a great fire retardant, but it's now considered a hazardous material because you can get quite sick from it. So we see that it's like a fishing type picture on the actual curtain, and sure enough, it's like this old man's caught a fish and it lifts up the curtain. It's quite clever. I don't mind it. And we see a gag that Tex Avery will do much better later on when all the curtains are opening and we see the washing, and sure enough, the actual screen, and another way for Buddy to cut costs is to just have it on a bed sheet of some kind. Now, you can sort of understand that happening in some sort of a rural country town or something, but this is seemingly the city, so you would expect higher standards. Whatever. Sure. So we see that this is mainly spot gags of sorts. This is actually very similar to Bosco's Picture Show, where he would just basically host his show and just show different newsreels and trailers and that sort of thing. So it's a similar idea here. So maybe some of the people who worked at Harmonizing thought, let's revisit that same idea but with Buddy instead. So first up, we get the Passe News, which is a play on Pathé News, and we see a baby chick that's going all off like Tarzan here, but the reason you see the baby chick is that it's a play on the actual logo, which was a rooster, and the rooster would crow, that's that, and you'd have the logo, instead of it shrieks for itself, it speaks for itself, so that's where all that comes from. So our first story is Premier Mausoleum, which is a play on Mussolini, and he was the dictator of Italy from 1922 to 1943, and at the time he was waging various wars on behalf of Italy, claiming certain bits of land, like North Africa and that sort of thing. I'm not going to go too much into history here, but at the time he was using a lot of resources and, of course, manpower to enact those wars. And so the gag here is lowering the age limit to enter the army because he would have needed more men, and he's gone a bit too far, I would think. So we see all these little kids now being part of the army, and I've got to admit, I do like the touch of that baby pin flag. I don't know. It's okay, but that's what the gag is. The next one, not so much. I'm looking into it. It's kind of weird. Now, of course, we see Liverpool, England. That's a play on Liverpool. Okay, fine. But National Dollar Day, it's kind of weird. Why would England celebrate Dollar Day when they use the sterling pound? Kind of weird. And there is a National Dollar Day in the US, which is on August 8, and I'm sure you all in the US celebrate that, right? You know, big parties and all that. Not really, but it is a thing. So I guess if you want a day off work, just say, hey, I observe National Dollar Day and I want a day off. So there you are. At this point, I was looking at some of the economics happenings of the UK around this time. Yes, that's how deep I can go in these reviews, so I can try and get some answers. So by this point, UK was suffering from the flow-on effects due to the Wall Street crash. It ended up that there was a lot of economic troubles in the UK as a result of that. So they had to do drastic things like leaving the gold standard and implementing a lot of economic measures. And by this point, things were slowly starting to improve. So I don't know what this one it actually means. So if you guys have a better answer for me, definitely let me know in the comments, because it seems all over the place. And yeah, instead of shoppers, we see a bunch of African natives running toward the screen, and lo and behold, it's from another Ben Hardaway short, Buddy of the Apes. And that shot is reused so many times, even by Frank Tashlin later. Friz Freeling uses it as well. Look, I don't know what's so special about that shot, but anyway, they end up reusing it so many times. But anyway, it is what it is. Then we see Yodel, Switzerland. Ha ha. Yep, sure, why not? So the gag here, Switzerland is a landlocked nation, so why do they need a navy? Well, the joke's on them. Switzerland actually does have a navy, but as with a lot of landlocked countries, the navy is more or less just there for the major lakes if they might border another country or something, so it's nothing to the level of, say, the US or anything, but they definitely do exist. But whatever, we just go with it. And yes, we all know Swiss cheese has holes, so we know what gag's going to come, and the gag involves a ship that's got a lot of holes in it. Ha ha. The problem with this gag, the way it's implemented, is you don't see much of these holes. It would have been probably funnier, so to speak, anyway, if this ship was just full of holes, so many holes or something. But anyway, as it stands, doesn't quite work, but whatever. And usually with the Pathé News, you'd see a cameraman just cranking the camera, looking towards you, the viewer. And here, it's just a guy with a manual washing machine just rotating it, because why not? I know in another Porky Pig short later on, when they parody Pathé News, they just have someone with like a sausage grinder. So yeah, you do have to wonder why Buddy, though. You see him preparing the film trailers. Why didn't he prepare that before if he's going to be a one-man operation like this? And I can tell you right now, you cannot run a theatre by yourself. So this is very odd indeed. So we see the coming attractions, including a smash hit, complete with a baseball just coming right towards us. And it's a smash hit 3 years in the remaking. The gag there is there were lots of films being remade, but they had a reason to remake it. The reasoning is the films were made during the silent era to remake them for the talking era. And that makes sense. Not everything was remade straight away, like you had Ben-Hur in the 20s, that wasn't remade until much later, in 1959, but look, they did remake a lot of films, and a lot of the silents were actually shorter as well, so they would remake them not only as talking films, but longer, so that's what that's parodying anyway. And what's this? Something that's actually funny in a Ben Hardaway short. In fact, it's something that reminds me of what Tex Avery would do, and the timing is also there too. How about that? So we see just this constant thing with the airplane coming forward, the propellers stop saying, it's stupendous, it's this, it's colossal, it's super colossal, it's just building, 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 and then bang, it just crashes to the ground, and then it says, in fact, it's almost mediocre. So we get a little touch of what Looney Tunes will come. I gotta say, that was actually funny. I thought it was pretty good. Then we see James Bagney, and that's a play on the actor James Cagney, and here comes the gravy. Gravy. You can just imagine Homer saying that, but anyway, there indeed was a Warner Brothers film from 1934 starring James Cagney called Here Comes the Navy. Not gravy. Navy. And he was even nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards too, so how about that? And the battleships you see, that's another reuse from Buddy the Gob, and it's yet another piece of footage that's reused constantly whenever they need some sort of a Navy shot. And we even see that there's an early form of 3D films where the actual guns pop right out of the screen, everyone's ducking, so I guess Buddy was actually ahead of his time. Not only has he pioneered 3D movies, but ones without glasses too, so I'm sorry I doubted you, buddy. I'm really sorry. Then we finish up the promotional part with 15 features for 15 cents. That's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. Not sure how that's a quiet weekend, but it's a good deal. And we get one major film pun here, which here it's okay. Like, we have the 8 girls in a boat with the thin man, and they're both real films, by the way. But looking at this film print now of Buddy's Theatre, kind of looks creepy in the background. I don't know. It was clearly an afterthought. Whatever. Then it says, plus rejected short subjects. I don't know what gag that's relating to. Maybe it's just that Buddy's Theatre can't get the good stuff, so they have to use the stuff that's rejected by every other major theatre chain. Because at the time, and I won't go too much into detail here, but at the time, a lot of studios actually owned theatre chains, and they would supply the movies for those theatre chains. So maybe Buddy can only get the stuff that's rejected by the major studios. I don't know. If you know more about it, let me know. Now we're on to the main attraction. Warner Brothers, again, Warner Brothers, haha, present The Chinchilla, starring Cookie. And I love the bottom how it says, phony vitamin production instead of Vitaphone. Beautiful. Now when you hear Cookie sing, doesn't she sound more like Betty Boop? I mean, you be the judge. I think they're trying to play up on making her maybe like a Betty Boop type character in this short. I don't know, but anyway. And in case you're wondering, she's singing the song, How High Can a Little Bird Fly? And we kind of get a King Kong parody of sorts. Yes, I know, the ape here is a lot smaller, I know, but I'm guessing due to the popularity of King Kong, there were a lot of films out there that tried to capitalize on the success and have movies that are similar in nature with monsters capturing the pretty girl. So this would be akin to that. But this ape's kind of inept, isn't he? When you see the footage of him just getting hit with the piano and then getting tangled in the piano strings. But okay, whatever. But Buddy's not only into it, but he seems to forget that this is an actual movie. Now this is where it gets so bizarre. Buddy is a theater owner. He knows this is a movie. He knows that Cookie's okay because she's just an actress. But he gets so much into it that he ends up changing the curtain so the ape somehow gets out of the screen and into some long johns. Then Buddy ruins some film that he actually has by swinging over to the ape, hurting the ape. Wow, how serious is Buddy? He just wants to bash up a fictional ape. Kind of weird. And then he tries to rescue Cookie, even though it's a movie. But the whole screen falls down, and when he pops out of it, it's just, yeah. He realizes what an idiot he is, and now he's lost a lot of customers. And I'm assuming Cookie is dead, by the way, since she's trapped in the film and the ape is not. But anyway, we won't go too deeply into that one. So this one, it's definitely an improvement over the previous Hardaway shorts that he's directed, whether it's a Buddy one or a Merry Melodies. Is it really funny? It's probably more funny unintentionally. Objectively, it's just okay. So this one gets maybe 6 out of 10. Because I found myself laughing in a few parts, and it's just really, really weird. But it's not a great short. But thankfully, now we can at least appreciate that touch more now that we got this beautiful film print that's out in the wild. Again, I can't tell you where it comes from, but I'm sure if you look hard enough, you'll be able to find it. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.